And we're back with Senator Steve Daines, and I'm also happy to be joined here at the desk by veteran political analyst and co-author of the new book, Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation, written by Dick Morse and his wife, Eileen McGann. Dick Morse, thanks for being here with us.
Good to be here. Hi, Senator.
And Senator Daines, we wanted to pick up because we were talking about the fact that the dialogue might be advantageous here, but Dick doesn't necessarily agree with you. I want Dick to ask you a question, and I'll let you guys talk it out.
Hi, Senator. How are you? Good to talk to you. I wanted to dispute what you said in your last comment, which is that negotiating with Iran is a good thing. I think it's a bad thing. I think what we should do is not negotiate, impose the sanctions, and sit back and wait for them to take effect. It's very clear that the sanctions have forced Iran to the negotiating table, and let's let them
and Dick,
force
I think we just lost our
want.
connection with Senator Gaines, so we won't continue down this road. But he made his point on the fact that dialogue is good, and some folks might say, and I might be in that party, hey, we are talking with Iran. This type of dialogue hasn't occurred. Even if nothing comes of it, maybe there's a starting point for something down the road.
Well, let's use the metaphor Netanyahu used, the Persian bazaar. When you go over and you evince interest in a rug the guy's selling, that's good news for him. And when you walk away, that's bad news for him. And you're likely to get a much lower price having walked away than staying there and bargaining.
Now it's time to walk away, you say?
Yeah, I think that the whole point here is that sanctions worked. They will continue to work. They forced Iran to negotiate, and now they need to force her to capitulate.
And I guess the administration's point is that if they impose even deeper sanctions, which has been suggested by some, that Iran might walk away from the table. Would that be a bad thing?
No, because Iran can't afford to have those sanctions continue.
Okay, we have the senator back, so we're going to let him get your take. Senator Daines, we were just talking with Dick Morris. He does not agree with your assessment that some dialogue is good here. He thinks the talk should be broken off immediately and both parties should go their separate ways. What say you, sir?
Well, I think number one is understanding more about who Iran really is. I mean, back to the point around responsible for 20% of American casualties, leading state-sponsored terrorists has reached levels of effect unseen since the early 1990s. And so we have to speak with Iran with our eyes wide open. I think the president is misguided in thinking that he can somehow negotiate his way to some kind of a nuclear-free Iran. But I would argue that at least having some dialogue is still healthy. But I'm concerned the president thinks that you can negotiate with a terrorist group, and I believe that they will only respond to stronger sanctions and really Ronald Reagan's peace through strength approach. Well,
I want to also talk about Venezuela. We only have about 3 minutes left before we got to let the senator go, Dick. And I know you have a vast experience of working in South American politics. President Obama, the Obama administration, just announced that Venezuela was a threat to American national security. What do you think about the timing of this move, Dick?
Well, I certainly support it. Leopoldo Lopez, who's now in prison, is a client of mine, the leader of the opposition. But there's a very simple thing the United States could do, which would cause the Venezuelan government to topple in a matter of days or weeks, which is, with the current glut of oil, we are the only country that has the refineries that are capable of refining the very heavy oil produced by Venezuela, about 1 million barrels a day. So declare an oil embargo, a unilateral oil embargo like we had on Iran, which other countries later joined but didn't join initially. That would stop their oil sales and kill their economy in a matter of weeks.
And what do you think about that, Senator?
Well, I agree with Dick. And as we're looking at this opportunity with $50 oil at the moment, this is the time to turn the heat on both Iran and Venezuela. There's a lot to be done in Venezuela. I think this is a step in the right direction. The human rights violations go there every day, and it's time to hold the Venezuelan regime accountable.
And what does this have to do, Dick, with Obama's policy on Cuba?
Well, I think he might be trying a tit for tat, which is to back off his leaven his Cuba policy by turning against Venezuela. But we have to realize that there is a strong anti-American coalition of Argentina under Kirchner, Paraguay, Uruguay, which is communist, avowedly, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Venezuela, and Nicaragua, and Cuba, and to some extent the Dominican Republic. that are allied as an anti-American force, and probably soon El Salvador. That's a very potent combination, and its epicenter is Venezuela, and its raison d'etre is to get oil revenues from Venezuela.
It's also a reason, when you mention those countries, which makes Jeb Bush an even more interesting 2016 candidate with his experience dealing with trade in that region. We'll talk about that. We're going to say goodbye real quickly to the Senator Steve Daines.
And congratulations, Steve. I've admired you from afar for a long time, and God, I prayed for you.
Well, thank you, Dick. I appreciate those kind words. And John, good to hear from you today as well.
My pleasure, Senator. We hope to have you back very soon here. We're coming right back here on MidPoint. Dick Morris is going to stick around. We are going to talk about that AR-15 weapon ban, and now the ATF has apparently changed their tune on that. And also we're going to talk about the Hillary Clinton email scandal. Will she talk about this today in depth? Will she take questions from members of the media? We all want to know. We're going to talk about that controversy. Also, coming up later this hour, things that make you say, only in Florida. Real head scratcher here about the state of Florida. We're back right after this.